Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all. The amazing Leicester City.
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right, good evening, everybody. How the devil are you? Welcome back. Yes, he's got me again with sloppy seconds. It's Craig. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. But if you didn't catch it earlier, because it was during the day, basically because he does a lot of work at night, I was chatting to Mike McCarthy, BBC Radio Leicester. I think it was on last week. He was covering the Leeds game at the weekend. He also works for BBC Radio 5 and Talk Sport. It's great to have a different opinion because we very much see things a fan's way, blue tinted spectacles sometimes, and it's good to sort of see what the professionals think. We've got a game. We've got Arsenal coming up at the weekend, but before that, and I am on an Arsenal preview at 10 o'clock tonight. I'm doing 2 of those this week, but you know what, Arsenal, and I should explain, we're in Europe. Do you remember that? And we're playing Rennes tomorrow night, so it's slightly a bit more important game than Arsenal, but yeah, we'll pop along. It is the European preview show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. 60 minutes of football fun and banter with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV. Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble.
Indeed, it is Leicester Till I Die TV. Thank you very much for joining us. YouTube, it is Leicester Till I Die TV. Please click that subscribe button if you haven't already. It does help support the channel, and smash the likes on the video as well. And if you're catching up on podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple iTunes, Amazon, Podcast Addict, to name but a few, thank you very much for listening. This is where you can find.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform, or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
Good evening, my sloppy seconds partner. How the devil are you?
Can you rephrase that, please, Chris?
Yes,
I don't want anybody getting the wrong idea.
Yes. How are you doing? It's been ages.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good, yeah. How are you?
I'm not so bad. You know, as always, obviously, when we play in a team like this, Rennes, not somebody we play every week. We don't always know a lot about them. And they, like a lot of teams, they've retired a shirt number 29. And I'm thinking, maybe we missed out here. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember what number Junior Lewis played in?
I'm not sure. Well, when he was playing, he played like he was every position. Obviously, he was such a stalwart. I think that was the word that was used.
That is probably the word, but or the one we can use anyway. But I'm just thinking maybe we should retire that number, but maybe for different reasons.
Maybe we should have kept the number and retired him.
If only. If only. Big up, Nippon. How are you? Thanks for coming in. NS Sports there. Get over there and give the guy a watch. We are very well. How are you? John Wayne, hiya. Just jump in to say hi and leave a like. Sorry, thank you very much. Watching Betis versus... I'm not sure. Man, who might Betis playing?
I'm not sure. I did just have a little look, actually. Just bear with me, caller.
Yes, you've got us there, John.
Eintracht Frankfurt.
Eintracht Frankfurt.
Eintracht Frankfurt are winning 2-1.
I think that is your, if I'm right, the German team you like, John. But good luck, you're winning. Hope it stays that way for you. Remember that, was it a song? Because you always remember all these songs. John Wayne is Big Leggy or something.
I do. Hazy Fantasy.
Hazy, that was it. I'm so glad. Hey, we should do a music quiz sometime.
we should do. Yeah.
Spencer, yeah, you sum it up here. Bloody Vardy injured again. Just about sums our season up. If you missed my interview with Mike McCarthy earlier, the link is at the top of the chat on YouTube, or find it on the YouTube channel under latest shows. But I was talking to him about injuries, and he was saying it's never known a season like this for injuries.
No, you've got to wonder what's going on. I think other clubs have had similar seasons. I can't remember who it was. It was one a couple of seasons ago, and they kept having exactly the same injury, like hamstrings or whatever. And again, questions were asked about training methods. But I guess that's one of those things that we'll never know, and they're never going to come out and admit that they've got a problem with the way that they're training. But
no. I did try to get Mike to commit on the. It's all happened since we got rid of Dave Richardson, but he wouldn't. He was
Dave Rennie. I think it was
Dave Rennie. That's
Dave
it.
Rennie,
Dave
yeah.
Rennie. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't have think that they're doing much different, would you? Because usually when you got somebody like Dave Rennie at the helm, the people below him are the ones that come through rather than you bringing in someone from the outside. But so I guess what goes on at Seaton stays at Seaton these days.
Yes, Dave Rennie. That's I do find that hard to swallow.
It upsets me that you'd say that as well.
I wasn't prepared for my first joke. There we go. Good evening to Doug. How are you? Thanks for popping in. Terry says good evening, Terry. The S Club 7 reunion tickets for Craig and the tourist tickets for Chris are in the post.
Excellent.
One of us would be quite happy with that, I think. One of us, maybe not so.
Well, I'm saying nothing.
Well, I mean, if you look, the tourists, it was Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart.
It was indeed, yeah.
Who went on to form the Eurythmics, and they were a pretty cool band as well. So, yeah, I think I would be the happier of the two. Don't stop giving. No, anyway. Renee, how the devil am I? I'm very good. I hope you are too, Renee. Doug says, Rennes beat Arsenal 3-1 a few seasons back. They had a good team then, including Ismail Assar. He knows his stuff. He didn't the other night, obviously, when he played you at the quiz, but he doesn't know his stuff. Sorry, Doug. Sorry. Dog Coat, good evening. They never played water polo at Beaver Drive. Well,
true.
I can't say a word. You know, I was surprised, as well as them retiring shirt number 29. They've only actually ever won one European competition. I thought they'd got more of a European pedigree than that.
Whose was the shirt that they retired?
Oh, number 29. It was the one, the only, the amazing Roman Dans.
Ah, yeah.
Look at you going, oh, yeah, as if you know it. That's TV's feature. Right? Move on, Chris. Don't ask me anything about him. I can tell you he was their right back from November 2006 to January 2018. So some of us do our homework, you see. Well, some of us have Wikipedia.
Some of us can read on the computer that's next to them. Yeah.
This is it. But, yeah, I mean, they actually... They won. Don't you remember? Well, I remember this. The UEFA Intertoto Cup.
Oh, the old Intertoto.
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently it was still going in 2008. I thought it was stopped a long time ago.
Was it 2008? Yeah.
Yeah. And they were joint winner apparently.
Wow. Okay.
Club Intertoto 2008. Oh, wait a minute. No. They played, the club they were playing was called Coop Intertoto 2008. That should have been a quiz question, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it was the 6th of June 2014 at the Wayback Machine. Bloody hell. We won't go into that. But
to be honest, I've never been a big fan of animals that feature in Judy Garland films. Personally, I've never been into Toto.
Well, that's not the rumours that it said in the Gent, but we won't go there. Quiz Rennes, did I ask? Craig, it was Arsenal with those injuries. They questioned Wenger's training methods. Well, there has been a few questions about Brendan Rodgers, but like we say, that's another story for another day. Talking about the Intertoto Cup, back in its day, you would have taken that. And I know we're in the conference, and I think it's an unfortunate name that they've decided to call it that. Yeah. Because even though we don't no longer have the conference as such, it's obviously people still know it as that. I couldn't tell you what it's called, Betfred or Sky, whatever it is.
National League, I think.
Is it right?
Yeah.
But I think you still think of it as the conference. So I think that's sort of the poor thing about it. But I'm still glad to be in.
Oh, definitely. I mean, as I say, we're becoming a bit. You don't want to say that you're becoming like Spurs fans in terms of having a level of entitlement that we should be in better competitions. We're in a European competition, and you're right. Going back a few years, we would have just loved being in any European competition. And to be honest, you look back at the teams. You look at the teams that are left in this competition. A lot of them have got a really good European pedigree. It's only the likes of us, but a lot of those teams have been playing in Europe year in, year out. PSV Eindhoven were hanging around in the Champions League not that long ago. Alkmaar, I know another Dutch team who've been in it a lot. Roma, there's a lot of decent.
Copenhagen, who we played in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's a decent level. When you get in, especially when you get into the end of the competition, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and anybody would actually think that we'd actually rehearse this because, of course, you did mention, Tottenham Hotspur, and that could only mean. Well, we might as well do it now, seeing as you've mentioned them. Indeed, it's 14 years now, 9 days, 1 hour, 45 minutes and 51 seconds since Tottenham won a trophy.
It doesn't seem 14 years ago, does it?
It doesn't. No, you wouldn't have thought that. Just a few more sort of hellos here. Cyber Leader. Rennie will come on to score predictions later. Cyber Leader, I'm very well. How are you? You've got Seville this week, I believe. You have, as you just say there. It'll be interesting because I think there's only one English team that's beaten Seville. Do you know who that would be there?
Let me... I think it's us.
You could be right. Yes. So, good luck, Cyber. I mean that. Spencer, on the plus side, JJ and Madison are both back. Yes, they are. But it is too early for Fafana, isn't it? He's not in the squad.
Well, he's got COVID.
Yes. So,
so he can't play anyway.
What? Just sums Leicester up, that, doesn't it? We waited all the time. He's going to be on the bench.
Yeah.
And just kind of get a cardboard cutout like West Ham did with Antonio and just sit him there so it looks like, we can remember what he looks like, Craig, the good teams came out of the Europa Cup, the rest who qualified are poor. Boom! Terry, get in there at the West Ham fan,
They're still in it, so...
Leicester, Rennes, we play tomorrow at 8 o'clock, obviously 2 legs, and because we sort of dropped down, we've got the first leg first. these were the odds, and I have to say, sort of, and please only gamble responsibly, and when the fun stops, stop. But these were the odds as of 2:45 this afternoon with Sky Bet. Just the match tomorrow, we are 11-10 to win it, and Rennes are 21-10, which I think makes Rennes favourite, doesn't it? Or
no, it means
it makes us favourite.
We're just over evens, and they're just over 2-1.
You can tell. You see, I'm not a betting man, not with my luck. And the winner of the tie is Leicester's 8-11.
Yeah.
And Rennes, well, that's evens, isn't it? 1-1.
Yeah, we're slight favourites, but yeah, it's very close, and as it should be, I think.
I mean, were you happy with the draw when we got Rennes?
Not really, no. Just because, at the time, although we've kept 2 clean sheets in back-to-back games, we weren't keeping clean sheets. And Rennes, as far as I'm aware, Rennes are the top goal scorers in the French league this season. And they have the most shots on target in the French league this season, the most expected goals. All of their strengths seem to be going forward, including having 2 of the top scorers in the top 4 in the French league. It's going to be a tough one because they're going to come at us. That's for sure.
I mean, the good thing with that is if they are coming at us, do we bide our time and we can hit them on the break, and if they're not maybe as good in defence as that. But then again, like you say, this is Leicester, isn't it?
Yeah, the last 3 league games they've scored 10, let in 5. So, I mean, you've probably got 2 teams whose strengths lie going forward. So for the neutral, it should be a great game. But as we're not neutral, it could be tense.
I mean, looking at the teams that we could have got, like you say, there's Roma was in there. Feyenoord, Copenhagen, who we've played, Bâle, Alkmaar. I mean, I suppose the ideal draw would have been against Lask in
the Austrians.
But can you imagine if we go out to Rennes, then you can say like, well, they're 4th in their league, etc., etc. I mean, Lask, if we struggled against them, then there might be a bit of furore.
Yeah, true. Like I say, I quite fancied Copenhagen, to be honest, because we know them. We've already had the beating of them, and I think the Danish league isn't the strongest. So even though they're at the top of that, but no, I think that, as I said before, it's a tough game because they do like to play on the front foot and they've got goals in them. So it could have been easier. Let's put it that way.
Terry says here, anything less than a win, then it could be curtains at their place. I mean, again, we've is that going to go against us, because we do have to take something there, as Terry says, I think, to get through. Would a draw, would you be happy? Well, not be happy, but what do you think if we got a draw at our place going?
A draw's not a bad result. There's no away goals, so that doesn't come into it. So basically, a draw means it's just a one-off cup tie, and and they're at home. The emphasis would be on them to come out, which you would hope means that we could play a counter-attack against them. So it's obviously you'd like a win, but a draw isn't a bad result.
Scott says here, good evening, Scott. How the devil are you? Hello, gentlemen. Well, that's questionable, isn't it, really? Hope you are both well. Can honestly say not looking forward to tomorrow or Sunday. I'm certainly looking forward to it more than I was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think this is the standard Leicester City inferiority complex, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is strange because we think we should be in the top 6, but then we fear playing everyone. So those two things don't really go together.
Yeah, exactly. But if we look at the form that they're in, and I found this quite interesting on the UEFA website. And that is, no, that's the wrong slide. Here we go. And this is the form Now, the competition form, we've obviously only played the 2 games versus Randers. Rennes, of course, they're going to have that because they qualified, so they're going to have a lot of wins. But what is interesting is the overall form. Now, that isn't, I looked at that and thought, hang on a second, we've not done that one in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But that includes competition, the last 5, including this competition and the Premier League, which is because you got the 2 Randers wins in there as well.
Yeah.
And again, the form isn't that different, and maybe it is now. We're starting to get our players back. We're starting to hit a bit of form. Yes, I mean, I've made the point out. When we went to Randers, we let them have so many shots at us, but I'd certainly be playing them now with how the team is performing now than I would have been, say back in December or November.
Definitely, we've got a bit of momentum behind us. We've got a bit of confidence. I think the difference in the 2 losses we can see there is ours was against Wolves and theirs was against Paris Saint-Germain. So a little different. But having said that, you're right. We should be confident. What we can't do is allow them to have as many shots on goal as we allowed Randers. And also, to be honest, looking at stats, and I know the stats don't tell everything, but the number of goal attempts that we allowed Leeds as well. So
totally,
definitely got to tighten up on giving chances away, because I think these will be a lot more ruthless.
100%. I mean, and that was something I sort of had a discussion with Brad, shall we say, and he feels that when we were playing Leeds, we would play a different way to when we played Randers. And yet we still let them have almost the same number of shots as Randers. And any other, if we're doing that against a Chelsea or a Rennes possibly, it won't be nice. It won't end up being nice at all. But Terry said here, it's concerned no Vardy up front. My confidence in Daka not very high at the moment. I mean, I think Daka is just unfortunate that Vardy comes back and he's dropped straight away. I mean, all right, he had to come off injured, so maybe it would have been better to bring him on for the last 15 minutes or something. But, Daka, he's been playing reasonably well. And let's be honest with you, he is our joint top scorer ever in Europe.
Yeah, I'm going to say he seems to have saved his best for the European games. I think he's been a bit unfortunate. He's, you watch him off the ball and he makes a lot of good runs. And like with any striker, if you don't get the ball, then you look an idiot because you're either caught offside because you try having to come back, or it looks like you're not doing anything. I've questioned him a couple of times when I think he could make his runs earlier, maybe coming from a bit deeper, which will enable or allow the players to actually look up and see that he's going to run. If he's right on the shoulder, then often players will look, and if it looks like he's offside, they won't play it. So I think he's got enough pace that he can give most backlines a couple of yards, and maybe he needs to do that and look at making his runs across players rather than in straight lines.
I mean, I think what he has done, because I've said this many a time, these days we expect a player, we sign him on the Tuesday, we expect him to be in the team on the Saturday, if he's a striker, get a hat trick. Yeah. But they've got to get used to the country as much as anything, and I'm personally well pleased. I mean,
he's come from a higher level, so his standard is higher. But if you look at Jamie Vardy was was making a big step up when he first came, but he was so poor that he felt like giving the game up. And look what he is now. So I think he needs a little bit of time. Better players than Daka have struggled. Bergkamp, I remember, didn't score for a long time when he first came to Arsenal. And the same with Henry. You've got to get used to it a little bit. And I think he plays with a smile on his face. I think he just needs one to drop for him. And I think you'll see him back where he was a month or so ago.
Yeah, I mean, Rennes is asking what happened to Vardy. It was a reoccurrence of his knee injury, I think, wasn't it?
He got bumped on the knee again. So
yeah,
Yeah.
We've got to accept now. He is no disrespect, getting on a little bit, but then again, he could have still given a 21-year-old me a run for my money and still beaten me by a couple of laps. But it is going to take longer to when he is injured. He's going to take longer to get ready. And let's face it. We brought Daka in as the long-term replacement. I don't. Our double Daka. Oh, Dorco. I've never come up with that one. Our double Daka.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes, I won't drill that one home, Dorco. Double decker, yeah. We'll do a couple in tomorrow, even by my standard, Dorco. He can't do. He got 4. He played with a smile on his face, and I think the good thing as well, there seems to be a good feeling around the place. I mean, Mike McCarthy earlier said you can see that the team are playing for Brendan. That they. All this talk about there being rifts and what have you, he says you can see that's not the case. And then you've got players like James Justin and Fofana. I mean, Fofana, he wants to stay here. He wants to win things with us. To me, that's a great feeling. And like I say, it's better to go into a game with that sort of atmosphere than, oh God, we've lost another one. Oh God, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I'm even more confident that even Tielemans may sign, just because he's seeing what's going on. Obviously, it depends. I think if his top choices roll up and come knocking on the door, then he would probably go. But if he's getting the second bests of this world, a Juventus or something, it's still glamorous, but it's not a Real Madrid. And he's seeing what's going on, this war chest that Brendan's been given or allegedly been given, seems to be turning players' heads. They're signing up on longer term contracts. They can see the direction that they're going. So I think it seems to be a positive buzz around the place at the moment, and people recognise that it's just been an unlucky season for us.
And I think as well, it was a post in the Leicester Mercury, and no disrespect, they're not the sources that they used to be. Not so much Hines now as Lidl, but they're saying that, as you've just said there, he may even sign, you summed it up perfectly there, and they've made the point that he isn't actually saying no yet. He hasn't come out publicly and said anything. So fingers crossed. You never know.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and there was a report came out of France last week, from one of the reputable newspapers, I think, that was talking about all the areas of the team that Brendan's looking to strengthen. I think there was about six positions that he was looking to strengthen. So it'll be interesting now. You've got. Let's look at the club. The club have struggled a little bit this season in terms of finance because of the travel ban that's happened over the past couple of years. That's starting to ease a little bit. They've spent a lot of money on the stadium, not the stadium, sorry, the training ground. The stadium is next, and there's a lot of money going there. And there's no way in the world that our owners are going to want to increase capacity at the same time allow the quality on the pitch to drop, because you're just going to end up with empty seats. So the two have to go hand in hand. You've got to build your team to fill the stadium. So and I think they're clever enough to realise that, whether it's every 2 or 3 years, because we would have had a transfer budget, and then we've also raked in additional money from the likes of Chilwell, from the likes of Maguire. So it may be that it's every 2 or 3 years, or 3 years, there's a rebuild, and that may be the cycle and pattern that we're going to go into.
Well, like you say, if it did all right for Fergie for quite a few years rebuilding. What was interesting when I was talking to Mike McCarthy earlier, because he was looking into the finances, and obviously he looks at it, and with a fine tooth comb. I just look at it, oh yeah, that was that, and that was that. Well, bits we get to see. But he made the point that Top has actually put a lot of his own money in, so it's not just King Power's money, but it's Top's money as well.
Yeah, I think the last bit I heard that I read was that I think it was 30 million or something that came in, but it was for tax purposes. I think it was better that it came from Top rather than the business. Now, whether that means Top will get it back in a roundabout way from the business, I'm not sure. But I think they were looking at the ways of funding the club that would be more beneficial to all sides.
You can imagine Top's accountant going, 20,000 for a meal? How the hell did you take out for that meal? But it also it shows his commitment to the club as well.
Definitely.
And good evening. I'm only showing this because it's your birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Ant. I hope you.
Happy birthday, mate.
One. Did you get my present? I sent it by courier, and it's a little step ladder. I don't know whether you got it or not, but it's on its way. It's on its way. As then people said, moving on up. Doug, I'm allowing you one, Doug. I thought the dryer was shrinking my clothes. Turns out it was the refrigerator all along. Tumbleweed.
I think let's just say that COVID's affecting him, shall we?
Yes. Yes. Even I don't. I mean, I don't get that. Mike, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? Thanks for popping in. Let's have a look. Says, leave me be. Who said that? Oh, Ant. Hi, how you doing? Stay down there. I jest, Ant. I jest. So, just have a look at some stats. And I like my stats. Louise, good evening. How the devil are you? Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show the other day. I don't know if anybody caught it. Louise is our new regular co-host on the Weekend Roundup show, looking back at the weekend's games. And she knew more than me. Mind you, that's not impossible. That is not
well, it's nice to have a little diversification out there, and we've got a lady on board now.
Yes, it is, and it's the first one that said yes to me when I asked. But
That's the story of your life, mate.
It is the story. You beat me to that. But Louise, it was great having you on, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to next week's show as well. Welcome to Leicester Till I Die. So these are the figures. These are our stats. Now, again, this is only for the Europa League. Because to be honest with you, there's no point comparing like for like in the leagues because they're different. But we've played 2 matches. We've won 2, obviously. 7 goals, 2 goals conceded, 81% passing accuracy, 85% balls recovered, 6 saves and 1 yellow card. And let me just go along. Have I got another one at the end there? Yeah, 56.2% possession, 1 clean sheet, and 1 red card. I mean, that doesn't look bad, does it, really?
No, but it's 2 games against one team. So
yes.
I think we know what stats can look
like.
Oh,
in fact, that's right. Yes, I know. You didn't tell me. I've just read out totally. Have I read out did I read out our stats?
There are stats, aren't they, against Rennes?
Yes. And I think I was reading Rennes stats out off my screen because there's no red cards for Leicester. You didn't tell me, did you? 1 yellow.
Well,
7 goals.
I didn't like to upset you, Chris.
Passing accuracy, 85 balls recovered. To be honest with you, it's easy to get it mixed up because it is actually quite similar for Rennes.
I think we've got 2 very well matched sides here.
Yes. Look at that passing accuracy, almost the same, possession almost the same. Yes, they've recovered more balls, but there's a joke in there somewhere, and they have had 1 red card. Doug, thank you so much for this. You are a gentleman.
Excellent.
Thanks. It really is appreciated, Doug. Thank you so very much. You could never say that Scotsmen are tight, can you? I never said that. I never said that ever. Ant says, though, tomorrow is a must not lose. It is. I mean, like you say, a draw wouldn't be a bad result. I'm surprised we're going in as favourites, to be honest with you, Craig.
Yeah, I guess, but it's English bookies, isn't it? So, you know, they're going to favour the home team. I hear what Ant's saying there, and I think must not lose games are the ones when you're at the bottom of the table. To be honest, they're the must not, because the consequences are greater, and a loss tomorrow makes it harder.
Yes,
but you know the consequences are not huge, are they? We're out of a cup competition. I'd be having, if I was Everton, I was thinking I've got a lot of must not lose games coming up. But let's not think negatively, Ant. Let's save that for after the game if we have to.
Yeah, I mean, Ant's just looking for a reason to have a go at Brendan, aren't you, Ant? I know what you like. Don't know why I did this one, but I'm gonna read it out anyway. The referee and his assistant referees and they're all Israeli. I don't.
Right. Okay.
I don't think that whether that makes any difference, but I can't say I've ever heard of them. I don't think Rennes are particularly, a dirty side other than anybody else. So there is, of course, a thing though with this game is there's no VAR.
Yeah.
Until the final, apparently.
Okay. And that's what is that? Albania, isn't it? I think.
Well, we will wait and see, shall we?
Let's see how far
what's happening.
How far things have progressed.
Cheers, Doug. And saying here, points deduction for the Scousers.
That was a comment this morning that I heard. They it's something to do with their spending over the past couple of seasons and the money that's come into the club. And I think they've got a deadline coming up of like 48 hours where they have to report back. And in the league rules, it states that the punishment can be either a fine or a points deduction. But so far to date, no club has been given a points deduction. So I'm struggling to say deduction now, aren't I? So they'll. This is a Premier League and it's a relatively big club despite where they are. Yeah. So they'll probably get a slap on the wrist and one of their wealthy owners will just have to have his pocket money taken away for a week.
Yeah, I mean, Ant says here, here's hoping it's a points deduction. I can't, like you said, I can't see that happening. It'll be if it's a points deduction, then Everton are going to take them to court. That will drag on. It won't be till next season. It's like you say, a fine. It's a drop in the ocean. Statman, it will be coming up in a couple of weeks. If you are going to take on our champion here, not the Wonder Horse, Champion Craig, and who is the only person to have held on to his title, as much as he tried to lose it, so he didn't have to do another one of those. Scott, good evening, Scott. He says. Craig's been on your gin.
I think maybe I need some, Scott. That's probably more to the point.
Yeah, and just a very quick look at how everybody got here, and how we compare. I mean, we've got UEFA ranking. I mean, we were saying how close we are, with form and everything. UEFA ranking, we're 77. And maybe I was building up Rennes to be better than they were, because I was surprised again when I saw they were only 53. Mm-hmm. We qualified by coming third in our group and obviously going down, winning 2, drawing 2, losing 2. And then obviously last round playoff, we beat Randers 7-2. last season, I mean, do you think we're playing better than last season? I mean, Slavia Prague, we know those games were just like, who's playing? They got the tea ladies out. No disrespect to tea ladies, of course.
Yeah, it wasn't. They fell at a bad time for us, I think, didn't they? We weren't playing particularly well. I think, the fans weren't in there again. I mean, it's interesting looking at the fors and againsts in terms of goals, and ours is pretty even, where theirs is again seems to be matching their league form, where they score twice as many as they let in. So it could be a night of holding our breath tomorrow, I think.
That's cool being a Leicester fan, isn't it?
That's true. That is true.
You see, but I say last year they were actually in the Champions League, and they got through to the round of 16 in 18-19. So they have had some recent European. Yeah,
they've got pedigree. Yeah, definitely.
And this is where they sit at the moment, fourth in the league. So they're currently still in the European place. Like we saw before, they've only lost one of the last 5 games. The goals for, I mean, it's scary. I mean, all right, Paris Saint-Germain, 56 you'd expect.
Yeah.
But 53 goals, that's, like you say, that's like, oh my God. I don't think, even if we park the bus, they're more likely going to get it through the windows.
Yeah. but I mean, you look at it, because clearly they play on the front foot. You look at all those, they've lost 9 games in amongst all that.
Yeah.
So it's like when they win well, but they are susceptible to getting beaten. So well, there's only Nantes in 6th place in the top 6 that have lost as many as them. Yeah.
But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. But we like you say, it could be a very long 90 minutes. Scott is saying, where do you both feel the goals will come from in our next few games? For me, Barnes and maybe Maddison. I mean, I know when Vardy came back, he scored on his return. He wasn't in great goal scoring form, in fairness. I think before he got injured, but when you look at Leicester, and we do tend to look at Vardy with blue tinted spectacles on, when you get, if we don't just rely on 1 or 2 players, goals can come from anywhere. They can come from Barnes, they can come from Maddison. Tillemans, we know, has got a shot on him. Lookman has. Thomas has scored in Europe before. Kieran Dewsbury Hall has, and he's not scared to drive the ball forward. And that's without Daka getting 4 and Inacho getting a few the other season. We have got that ability that the goals can come from anywhere.
Yeah, they can. I mean, I think you've got to look at the little triangle. Like, if we can replicate on the right hand side that triangle that we've got going on the left hand side with Thomas, Dewsbury Hall, and Barnes. Those 3 are working great together, and I know it's been highlighted by a few people, and we need to look at that, I think, on the right hand side, and whether we can do that now. Whether that means that he plays Lookman out there and with Albrighton behind as a fullback, I'm not sure. Whether he's prepared to risk Justin in right back spot on this, I'm not sure. It depends on the pace, I think. But whether it's Maddison, whether it's Tielemans, but we need to try and replicate that little triangle. It's going to be an interesting one, because if he's trying to replicate that and almost go with a 4-3-3, then somebody's missing out. Tielemans or Maddison is going to miss out, unless he plays Maddison as almost like a false 9 and doesn't go with Daka and looks to the wings to go. So it's going to be an interesting one how he works that, because it looks like he's playing Barnes week in, week out. So if you go with a 4 and a 1 of Ndidi, then I don't know. Can you fit the rest of them in?
Well, I mean that's why he's paid the big bucks, isn't it? And why you have a big squad. Scott says here with Vardy, Chris, he creates options for his teammates even when he isn't scoring, where Daka and Acho generally seem to get in the way. That's a little bit harsh, don't you, Craig? I don't think they get in the way. I think in Acho, he's got more assists for us than almost anybody in the team. He's a good little player, and in fact, that's probably more to his game at the moment than the actual scoring.
I think so. I think Vardy has got those years of experience that he knows when and where to make runs to drag players away that creates space for others. And I'm not sure Daka's got that at the moment. As I said, for me, he runs a little bit too straight. You know, he should be holding back and running across blindsiding defenders rather than sitting in between and just running in straight lines. If you're doing that, then the player has to react. He has to decide whether he's going to go with the run or he leaves it. And I think that's where Vardy has perfected it. He plays in bursts, but he makes those kind of runs. So, it's he's got a bit of learning to do. But, you know, I think when he gets in front of goal, he seems to finish. So
he does know where to put the ball, doesn't he? And it says there, Brighton is the right back again. So we're coming with Dev. Totally. So, although in fairness, he's getting better. I can always remember when I saw him playing right back, I'm thinking penalty there. So at some point during the game, Chowdhury deserves a run of games, even if it's at right back. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Because we've not got Castagna, we've not got Vieira. So you're looking at, I think, if Fofana can't play, so Amati will have to come back into the middle, I think. Maybe, I mean, he didn't do a bad job there, Chowdhury, and he didn't do a bad job in central defence. But you know, when he's not going to play there when we've got everybody fit, of course.
No, I mean, he's got recovery pace and he likes to tackle. I think, and this may be a better game for him, Scott, to be fair, than Leeds, where he had a lot of time on the ball against Leeds, but he seemed loath to go forward with it or move it on quickly, and it was getting a bit frustrating. So this may be one where he's asked to defend more, he can do a job. If he's asked to be a ball player and bring it out, then I'm a little bit dubious as to whether he's got that level of talent.
Yeah. Well, what I thought we'd do, and you know you're going to love this, is let's see what you would do if you were in Brendan's shoes tomorrow. I'll help. You know, well, you'll get it better than I will probably. You know, you're not so far off when you pick these players. Let me just get that up. There we go. Now, what formation do you think, or would you like to go for? We can't double guess what Brendan goes for.
No, let's stick with that. Let's stick with, because we've talked about creating those sort of triangles down each side. So let's stick with that.
Yes. It's not going to be Danny Ward, is it? I don't think he'll risk dropping Casper.
No, it's Schmeichel, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Okay, so let's start on the left back position. Is it going to be JJ or is it going to be Luke? I think I'd probably go for Luke.
I think it'll be Luke, to be honest.
Yes.
I think if we're going to see JJ, it's going to be right back.
Yeah. And now I haven't got, believe it or not, as you can see there from the BBC. We shouldn't use the BBC, really.
Yeah, I know. I saw this before when they were trying to pick a team, and JJ's just disappeared. So
yes, they haven't put him in midfield, have they?
No, he's just not there.
Well, we know that gap there then is they've got Luke Thomas in midfield there. Yes,
well done, the BBC.
Yeah, well done, guys. Well done. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be we think he's going to go JJ there, which I agree with you totally. That would be the best options. Amate and Soyuncu.
Yeah.
If and when, I mean, Fofana, obviously, apart from the fact that he's having COVID problems, when he comes back, I asked Mike this earlier. He seems to think it'll be a Marty that will lose out. Would you agree on that? Because I quite
think
fancied Fofana and
I think so.
Marty.
He's naturally a right-sided player, as is Fofana. Solange is a naturally left-sided player. So I think, unfortunately, Marty will, unless he decides to go down a route of a back three, because we know Fofana can bring the ball out. You know, that could be an option to him, and he could push his fullbacks much higher up the pitch.
And knowing that they've got a Marty covering back, God, I never thought I'd be saying this. Ndidi in the middle there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I thought Mendy did very well when he came on for a short period of time.
He did.
Other day, he did exactly what you expect him to do. Very neat and tidy on the ball. Doesn't panic. Keeps the ball well under pressure.
I mean, I've said this to you just to sidetrack for a few minutes, that I like Mendy, and I think last season when he came in and had to cover for Ndidi at the start, he did more than enough. I think he's a good player. Obviously, there was talk of him leaving, but you know, when you've got Ndidi, you've got Chowdhury, and you've got Mendy, all probably in the same similar sort of roles. Yeah. Can we afford to have all three, or you know, and well, Chowdhury may be quite happy to sort of, you know, come on now and again. It doesn't look like Mendy is.
No, don't forget, you know, you've got Samari, who's
and Samari as well. Yes,
that's supposed to be his spot as well.
Yes.
You know what? I mean, it would not surprise me if Ndidi ends up being sacrificed and goes. It just wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, because of two ways. I think his pitch coverage is brilliant. You know, his ball recovery is brilliant. Where it's lets him down is his distribution. You know, he's a lot of the time his ball recovery is because he's given it away.
Yes,
and I love Ndidi, don't get me wrong, but in terms of if you're looking to strengthen and go up a notch, and whether they've decided that as part of that 200 million fund or whatever they need to sacrifice somebody, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Ndidi. I'd be quite happy for him to stay. Don't get me wrong.
I think if Tielemans goes, I think letting Ndidi go as well.
Yeah, I think if someone goes, it's one.
Yes,
I can't see. I'd be surprised if any more than one went.
Scott, he can't bring Mendy in because Mendy's not registered, is he, for the Europa? He's registered in for the Premier League, but I don't think he's registered in for Europe.
I'm not sure.
He can't bring Mendy in on that. So going back then, so we've gone for Ndidi. You still you go for Ndidi in the middle, yeah?
Yes,
yes. Okay. On the left there, who would you put on the left?
Dewsbury Hall. I mean. He's been player of the month, hasn't he? He's looking better and better. He still makes the odd aerial, give the ball away, but you can't question his work rate. Somebody I saw earlier today was likening him to a Brian Robson, which is high praise indeed.
Yes,
but if he can add some goals to it, then you can see that comparison.
And Rogers was talking about him as a potentially future captain. He said he's got that in him. Whether he would be your, a future centre back, is it for you or whatever?
I'm quite happy to have a centre back or a centre mid or a midfielder. I don't like.
No, I was trying to think what American phraseology you use.
Oh right, my quarterback.
Quarterback, that's it.
That's the one.
Yeah. Ricardo's not fit, Rennie. I don't think he's. I think he's out as well, so we can't have him.
Otherwise, he'd be in. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gone. Yuri and KDH for the other. Now then, on the left, is it going to? Oh, sorry, on the right. Sorry, are we going to see Maddison there?
Yeah, this is a tough one because to me, this is Maddison or Tielemans, and I think Tielemans gives you a bit more work rate, but I don't think he's been at his best recently, and I'm going to go Maddison.
Do you think, if we start, and I completely get what you mean, do you think that we're going to be, he's going to be a bit peed off, Tielemans, and go, well, if you don't want me, then why am I stopping?
Potentially, but if that's his attitude, then that's a bad attitude. What it should be is, that you roll your sleeves up and you get yourself back in the team and you make yourself undroppable. Yes. He was last season; he was undroppable. Yeah. I think his level has dropped a little bit this season.
But then the whole team has, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So it doesn't do him any harm. Let's.
And it is a squad game. It is a squad.
It is, and you've got a big game at the weekend as well against Arsenal. Yes. Whereas you could see Maddison being brought on to try and affect that game later on than starting. So
yes, and Anthony,
it's one or the other.
Anthony, if you are watching, that is possibly the only time you will ever see Maddison coming out of the Arsenal tunnel is when we play you. Not or Tielemans for that matter, both of them. Now then, centre up front. Now, this is going to be interesting to see where you go with this. Are we going to have two strikers on there, or are we just going to go one with two backups?
I'm going to go one and two wingers here.
Yeah. Is that going to be Daka? It would be for me, but...
I'm tempted to go with Iheanacho. Personally, you can put who you want in, Chris, but I'm tempted to go with Iheanacho because I like his link-up play better. You saw that against Leeds. That was a fantastic 1-2. He'd not been on the pitch long. It was a lovely 1-2. He came to show, got the ball to feet off Barnes, and Barnes likes that. Barnes is always looking for a 1-2. He's not going to get that with Daka, I don't think. So I think if you've got the two wingers that I'm going to go for, then I think Iheanacho is a better bet because he can drop in and allow space for them to make outside in runs.
Yes. I completely agree. And, I love Iheanacho. And I just think, it's unfortunate the way he finished last season that he was nowhere to be seen at the start of this season. But, hey, like you say, we're not the managers, are we?
No.
So, which winger would you have on the left of Iheanacho there?
Barnes, isn't it?
I said that almost as if I was going to be surprised. Barnes, and he's found he's got his eye back in again, hasn't he, for the goals? So it could all just be coming together. I don't want to I'm Leicester fan. I don't want to get too excited, but these things are slowly starting to come together. And are you putting Lookman on the? I'm going
to go Lookman. I think.
Yes.
It could have been Albrighton, but I think we need to score. We need to score a couple of goals in this game because it's going to be tough going on. I think if Brendan goes in with a mindset that he's going to try and keep them out and nick a 1-0, I think it could backfire on us. I think we need to go and get at least a couple of goals in this game.
So with you saying there, then we need to score a couple of goals. That will explain your exclusion of Perez.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Newcastle fan, and I remember ringing him up when it was first mooted that we might get Perez. That move came out of the blue, and I remember ringing him up, and he was shocked that they were going to sell him. But then he said, "Take him." He said he flatters to deceive. I spoke to him this week and I asked him if he wanted him back, and surprisingly he said no.
No, I was about to say the same. Whenever I'm on a Newcastle show or either all on a panel with a Newcastle fan, I always ask, and the answer is always the same, like no. It's a bit like, would you take Harry Maguire back?
Yeah.
Not
for half the money.
No.
For half the money, I'd take him back. Yeah, I think, I think he's just in a bad spot there. He wasn't a bad player for us, was he?
No. That's the thing. He wasn't. He got into the England team while he was with us, and you can talk about, well, again, tell me somebody in that team that's performing brilliantly at the moment,
the Perez. I mean, just going off on a tangent slide, the Perez thing is an interesting one because you've got all talk of an overhaul of the squad. You've got all this money being spent. What happens to the likes of Perez? Because you're only allowed to have a squad of a certain amount. You're going to have players there who are not going to be part of it and not challenging. Does Brendan decide that he's prepared to take a hit? What, you spend 30 mil on Perez and you let him go for 10 just because you need to free up spaces in the squad and get him off the books?
Yeah,
I think there's a few players around there. It's going to be an interesting summer.
Yeah, definitely. I think there'll be lots of paper talk and then lots of action, I think, towards the end. But I mean, like you say, I think we would have to take a loss on Perez. I don't think we get anywhere near the 30 that we paid for him. But sometimes, look at Slimani. We paid 40 and he went on a free. So, let's we do it. A question, but I think that was quite a good team there, to be honest with you. Schmeichel, Thomas, Soyuncu, Amati, JJ across the back, although he's a bit invisible, JJ at the moment. Dewsbury Hall, Ndidi, Maddison, Barnes, Inacho, Lookman. I would not mind that team at all running out of the tunnel tomorrow night.
Probably going to be nothing like it, is it?
No. That's why I never ask you now to put yourself into Brendan's shoes, because it is impossible. That's why I always say go for your team. I want to come back to a question that Doug asked earlier. I just need to find it. It was a very good question. I think basically he was saying, which is the more important game, Rennes or Arsenal? I'll let you go first.
Rennes for me. We've talked about this before. I can't see us getting anywhere near the top six.
No,
there's just too many teams in between us. It's not the points. The points gap is bad enough. You've got Arsenal playing very well. You've got Spurs playing very well. Our best opportunity of being in Europe next season, particularly in the Europa League, is to win the Conference League.
Yes. No, I've got to be honest with you. I would, again, we're going to have to stop doing this, but I agree with you 100%. Rennes is much more important. The Rennes match is a cup competition. Yeah, I know it's 2 legs, but it's a one-off tie, shall we say, where if we lose to Arsenal, it's one game. And how high can we go up?
Yeah, I'm looking at the table now. You've got West Ham are in 6th on 45. We're on 33. We've got 3 games in hand on them. I'd rather have the points in the bag.
Of course.
We've got 1 game in hand on Spurs, and Spurs are 12 points ahead. I can't see us making 12 points up on Spurs.
No.
So with a great run in, we can probably get 8th. Doesn't get you anything.
No.
We're not going to go down. I can't see us going down. So for me, it's this cup competition. We win a European competition and we get into the Europa League.
Exactly. And also as well, like you say, if we finish 8th and don't, maybe get to the quarters of is it the quarters after the round of 16? It is, isn't it? So the next round is the quarters. If we get to the quarters and 8th, do you know what? I'd sooner be finishing 10th and win.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I can't understand, everybody's got their own opinion, but I can't understand why someone would think Arsenal is a more important game in the context of our season at the moment.
No. And I can't get over, and I'm on, an Arsenal channel tonight at 10, and I just can't get my head round how not just Arsenal fans, and not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but just some of them, and Tottenham fans as well. Oh, we don't want the conference. we should be winning things, and we should be in the top 4, etc. Well, you got rid of Wenger, who got you into the top 4 season in, season out. But I'm thinking, they say, we'll attract the best players. Well, if you don't get Europe, last season Arsenal said, no, we'd sooner finish 8th and not be in the conference. And that might be doing them good this season because, when we won it, they haven't got Europe to worry about. But if you're in Europe, whatever,
Mm.
you're going to attract players more than if you're not.
The thing is that it's not as clean cut as that, is it? Because to be honest, if you're playing well enough to get in the top 4, then you're probably not going to get knocked out of the Europa League, so you wouldn't be in the conference anyway. You know, so if like Spurs, they didn't want to be in the Conference League because they wanted to just concentrate on getting top 4. You know, they might do it this season. It may work out for them. But it's a gamble, isn't it? It's a gamble on you're throwing all your eggs in the basket of getting in that top 4, top 6. And I can understand to a certain extent the traditional top 6 having that viewpoint. But for the rest of us, European football is great. You know, it's something to look forward to. You know, we enjoy these European nights, and even if it's at the next level down, we'd love to be in the Champions League. And you know, let's not be joking about it. We got a very, very good draw when we were in the Champions League.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
yes.
That was the reason that we got as far as we did. We were very, very fortunate with the draw. We could have just as easily lost all our games and been out of it. And the European adventure would have been over very, very quickly.
Yes.
You know, we need to build this club that we're consistently in and around the top 8, the top 6. Where we are now, the season that I'm more than happy to still be in Europe.
People were saying, oh God, we should have won. We'd have been playing Barcelona. Look at, we could have had a great game. I'm sorry, Barcelona would have probably knocked us out, quite embarrassingly. And we would now be sat here out, Napoli, wasn't it? I always get Napoli.
I think some people want the glory of a night. You know, they want the glory of playing Barcelona, and they would sacrifice being out of the competition to just have the glory of one night. I think that's a small club mentality, though. What you want is to be in Europe year after year after year, so you've got more chances of playing Barcelona, not just on a one-off.
No. I mean, let's be honest, like I say, had we qualified for the Champions League this season, I think we would have been embarrassed with the way our season's gone, and quite right. I always said, we could not have picked, when we were in the Champions League, we could not have picked a better group if we'd picked it ourselves, but hey, this is football, none of it is as it should be. None of it is worked out on paper, but there we go. Going to end up with ask you with a score prediction, of course.
I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. Do you know what? I'm going to do I'm not going to agree with you for first time tonight, but I'm going to do a Craig, because I call it doing a Craig. I'm going to go 3-1.
Yeah,
I think
3-1 would be a fantastic result.
Yes, it would. I have a feeling they're going to punish us, though. That's my heart saying that.
Yeah. I'm sure you've got one, Chris.
I can't find it, But Craig, thank you so much as always. You going tomorrow night?
I'll be there. Yeah, no worries.
Have a good time. Hopefully, you'll be celebrating a win.
Me too.
Don't get yourself arrested.
I'll try not to.
Scott is going for 3-2 to Leicester, and Doug, Liverpool, I'm going 4-2 to Leicester.
There's a goal fest. I'll take that, Doug. I'll take that right now.
I tell you what, Doug, seeing as you've done that, we'll end on this. I don't think I ever read out your second joke. Maybe I won't be able to find it, which would probably be good news for everybody. Here we go. I found it, and that's only because this is only because you've gone 4-2 for Leicester. I'm allowing this to go up. What did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet? Supplies.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah. There is a way to finish a show off, and I think that finishes the show off, to be honest with you. As they used to say on another program, it's good night from me, and it's good night
from me.
No,
cheers, everyone.
He said it
Yeah,
wrong.
no, I'm not going to play you. I'm not going to play into your hands, Chris. Of your, you're aging us.
Excuse me, people. Yeah. We've gone way past that.
Yeah, you need. We need a more modern catchphrase. I think. Work on it. Let's see if we can find us a catchphrase.
I've been Chris. He's been Craig. Good night. Thanks a lot. Speak to you later. Take care. Cheers. There we go. Thanks to Craig, him, the wise old owl. We'll have to come up with a catchphrase. We certainly will. We will be back tomorrow at 10:30. I had to think about that, didn't I? Tomorrow at 10:30 with the post-match show. And hopefully we're going to be talking about a win with Brad. 10 o'clock, get onto SVLE TV. I will be on there. I did post a link in Twitter. And then on Friday, we've got a couple of shows. I'm doing our own on Arsenal preview at 7 o'clock. And then on Dan Turf Morehouse TV, doing the prediction show at 9. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for listening. If you're catching this up on podcast, I've been Chris. He's been Craig. This has been Leicester Till I Die TV. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.